Top 10 Biggest Announcements of E3 2011. Once again, E3 is behind us, leaving in its wake a slew of big announcements. E3 has always been a place where game companies reveal their next big projects, and this year was no exception. After going through all the announcements I could find, I've chosen the top 10 biggest announcements of E3 2011. Number 10. Minecraft for the Xbox 360.
Who create their own worlds and explore those of others, Minecraft proves that a great idea can become a success.
Out of the big E3 press conferences, Microsoft's was the most disappointing. But that doesn't mean there weren't any big announcements. They revealed that one of the biggest PC hits of recent years, Minecraft, will be coming to the 360 with Kinect support. This could potentially be a really big thing for the 360, but before we get too excited, we need to see how the game actually plays on the console. Number 9. A new Smash Bros. Game is announced.
What Sakurai suggested then was a specific idea to make Smash Bros. For both Nintendo 3DS and Wii U.
It's been 3 years since the previous Smash Bros. Game was released, and many people have already been hoping for a new game in the series to be announced, especially as the rumors of the new Nintendo console began to surface. At E3, these people got their wish, although maybe not in the way they were expecting. Nintendo did announce a new Smash Bros. Game that would be released for both the Wii U and the 3DS, but it was also announced that work on the game hadn't even started yet, so we are probably in for a long wait with this one. Then again, fans of the series should be used to that by now. Number 8. Dust 514, a Sony exclusive. Dust 514 is one of the more unique concepts introduced in video games in recent years. It is an MMO FPS that takes place in the same game world as EVE Online. Basically, the players of EVE Online can interact with players of Dust 514. For example, in battles over the control of different planets, the players of EVE Online can recruit players from Dust 514 to assist them in the ground battles. The announcement that the game will be Sony exclusive could potentially be a huge thing if the game turns out to be good. Number 7. Insomniac announces Overstrike. Insomniac has usually been associated with the PlayStation brand, as they have so far made games for Sony consoles alone. This, however, is about to change, as the game they unveiled at E3, Overstrike, will be released on both the PS3 and the 360. The game is going to be a 4-player co-op shooter, but not much else is yet known. Regardless, knowing Insomniac's past, there shouldn't be too much concern over the quality of the title. Number 6. Sly Cooper: Thieves in Time officially announced. After years of waiting, the fourth Sly Cooper game is finally being made for the PS3. While the game won't actually be developed by the series' original creator, Sucker Punch, it is in capable hands as the development is being handled by the team that ported the original PS2 games into HD versions on the PS3. The fourth Sly game had been teased several times before, but it wasn't until Sony's E3 press conference that it was officially announced. Number 5. Far Cry 3. Ubisoft's press conference was a bit short on announcements, but of the few that there were, this was by far the biggest. Far Cry 3 was one of the best looking games on the show, and considering the other games on display, that's saying something. Far Cry 3 is set for release sometime in 2012, and considering the last game in the series came out in 2008, I'd say it's about time. Number 4. Hitman Absolution. Here's another franchise that's gone without a new game for quite some time. It's been over 5 years since Hitman Blood Money was released, as IO Interactive has been focusing on other games such as Kane and Lynch, which didn't exactly light the sales charts on fire. Now they're finally returning to the franchise that made the studio famous. Hopefully the break has given the developers some new ideas, as the series was admittedly growing a bit stale with the last 2 games. Number 3. Halo 4. Regardless of what your opinion about Halo is, it's a simple fact that it is one of the biggest video game franchises around currently. So when a new entry to the series is announced, you know it's going to be big. The game is going to be a direct sequel to Halo 3 and marks the return of Master Chief as the main protagonist after being mostly absent in the previous 3 games. This game is also the first new game in the series to be developed after Bungie left the franchise behind. Number 2. The PlayStation Vita price announcement.
That the Wi-Fi only model will retail for $249. Yeah.
A lot of people were probably both excited and slightly worried about the launch price announcement for Sony's new handheld, the PlayStation Vita. After all, many of us still remember the fiasco from E3 2006 when Sony announced the PS3's launch price. Fortunately, our worries were laid to rest when it was announced that Vita would retail for only $249 or euros for the Wi-Fi only version, and $299 or euros for the 3G version. It seems that the more I see of this thing, the more excited I am about it. If the Vita's launch is a success, and Sony can create and keep a good momentum going from that point on, Nintendo might actually have some cause for concern. Number 1. Nintendo unveils the Wii U.
World of Wii U.
Whenever one of the big 3 unveil a new console at E3, it's practically guaranteed to be the biggest announcement of the whole expo, and this year's E3 was no exception. While it had long been rumored and speculated that Nintendo would announce their next home console at this year's E3, the actual announcement was still surprising, mainly due to the console's unusual controller that has a screen in the middle of it. A lot of the console's features are still unknown, but regardless, the unveiling of the Wii U was the biggest announcement of this year's E3.